Well, I've had a chance to see one of your sessions. I attended the Digital Summit in Chicago, and that's where you and I kind of met.
Yep.
And as an attendee in the audience, what really stood out to me was the part that you were talking about being accessible for everyone. And I never really thought about that as a marketer. And you kind of, at least the feeling I got after your session, I kind of took a step back and said, oh my God, I need to do like a deeper dive here when it comes to my email and really consider some of these things. Can you touch a little bit about being accessible?
Yeah, so this is a really important topic, and that's why I'm trying to, because of what you said, like marketers, we don't necessarily think about that stuff, and it's incredibly important because there's like, well, the statistics that I have is there's 325 million people in the world, or no, 330 million people in the world that have some type of visual impairment that use assistive devices. And to put that in context, there's 325 million people in the United States. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of people. And if as a marketer, you want to make sure that you're sending the same message across to every single person so that they can all engage in your message, maybe not the same way, but they can all get that message. Because they're like this mobile revolution has been incredibly impactful for those with visual impairments because you can zoom, you can do all this stuff, and then they have the information on their fingertips. And they all have every mobile device, or let's say Android, iOS, each have their accessibility tools to really help them. So then they don't have to have these uh, tools that are next to their computer. They can get that information anywhere. And so there's a lot to do with it from a visual standpoint. You can talk about contrast ratio, like what are the standards for that? Are you using green on black or white on green on white? Like there's certain color combinations are really bad from accessibility standpoint. And it's also how you code your email. And it's not just that too, when you're talking about a marketer with the whole experience, you don't just want to focus on the email. You want to make sure if your email is accessible, that the landing page is accessible too.
Yeah.
Because email is a driver. It's not a conversion tool. It's definitely not a conversion tool
Right.
because you don't convert people from email. You drive people to where you want them to go. And at that point, if that's not accessible either, well, guess what? You
You
haven't
lost
really,
them. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. They
Yeah.
can't do what they wanted to do. You had them, but then they can't complete it. And so there's like code stuff, and then there's visual stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that I can go into.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. And then you talk about too is how accessibility tools are driving how we are now engaging with things. So think about it. So Google Home and Alexa.
Yeah.
Those have been driven by accessibility technology. So now you can just talk to someone or talk to Google Home and say, "Hey, order me eggs." Okay, great. That's a visual. That's an auditory command. And what's really interesting with Google Home, if you ask it, "Hey Google, will you read me the last email?" It will say, "I don't know how to do that yet," which I think is really interesting. That yet.
Yeah.
It's coming. And Siri, now you can engage with emails with Siri. Like you can be driving down the street and saying, "Hey Siri, read me the last email." It'll actually read to you, and you can actually reply to it using auditory commands. And that's for something I think too is that we all have to understand from a marketing standpoint is accessibility tools are driving where we're going. And that there's going to be a point in time where marketers and people are going to be engaging with emails through auditory and being able to not convert, but drive people to do certain things from auditory commands.